Hello and welcome to Nice and Blunt. It is Thursday, August 21st, 7:45 p.m. Time for another live stream and some drafts. Let us begin. Whew, there's a heat wave going on in Los Angeles. We had a very mild summer and it's finally catching up to us. Today was hot as fuck. So I'm a little exhausted just from the heat wave and stuff, but I'm excited for this stream. We're gonna be hopping into a couple pugs, maybe a third, but most likely only two. And I am excited about this format. I like this tournament setting. $12 entry, 3 entry max. And obviously in the first pod, we got to finish top 2. Then in the playoffs, we got to finish first out of 5. That's pretty decent. 20% is on the higher end of your chances. And then 20% again, 1 out of 5. And then if you make the final's pretty small. Only 62 people in this $9,300 entry tournament. And if we do make the final, you get a minimum $200, and first place does take home $20K. So really nice payout structure if you do make the final. Good advance rates in the playoffs. I am excited about this tournament. So we're going to hop in. Looks like Shamrock is in here with us, also feeling the heat. And Scott Young also in here as well. Good evening to you, my friend. Hope you are enjoying your Thursday. So if you would like to draft with me, I'm going to drop the join now in the chat when I'm ready. And I believe we're on a minor delay. I think it's about 6 or 7 seconds today. So look for that join now. And right when I drop that, I will be clicking enter. Hopefully it syncs up where if you really want to be in the same pod, it does work out. But give me a few seconds just to catch up. And then once you see it in the chat, that's when I will be hopping in. Da-na-na-na. All right, let's go. 8 spots left. Should be ideal circumstances. For some reason it kicked me back to the lobby, but we are in this draft lobby. 7 spots left. If you would like one, you can still get one. But in the meantime, let me get my live stream settings all hashed out. All right, that should be good. And then, yeah, it'll all be proper in time. 3 spots left. Hopefully we get a good pick. Hopefully we're in good shape. But, oh, before I forget, I had a really funny thought last night, and this would be like a diabolical way of winning in week 1. But we all know that the Bengals defense is going to be absolutely terrible this season. You know who the Bengals play in week 1? The Browns. It would be a very embarrassing way to lose for your opponent if you beat them with Joe Flacco in week 1. Wouldn't that be hilarious if you started Joe Flacco week 1 and he drops like 27 points against the Bengals? You don't do as I say, but I am very tempted in one of my leagues this year to kind of punt quarterback, just load up the roster and then just like fill it in off the waiver wire, and week 1 go with Joe Flacco in like a phenomenal matchup. Wouldn't that be hilarious if you beat your opponent week 1 with Joe Flacco? That'd be pretty fucking funny. I might do it. I might not do it. I probably won't, but I like to do some diabolical shit like that at times. And also week 1 is like a good spot in my opinion to like let some of the demons out. Like we want to start some like crazy players, you know what I mean? Like there's going to be times when you want to take a big swing. And I personally believe week 1 is actually a good time to do it, because if you're in like a non-fab type of waiver wire league where you need waiver priority to have the best, like the number 1 pick in terms of waiver wire selections, why not start off 0-1? Like, that's actually the perk of losing in week one. You could get the best waiver wire claim, and there's always gems after week one. Like, we always miss on some players that go undrafted that we just don't see coming. And sometimes there's like backfields that we just don't expect. Sometimes having waiver priority in week one is actually like the key to getting the best option off the waiver wire all season. Sometimes that does happen. So just ignore me on the suggestion. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. But I was watching like some Stavros Halkias clips on like TikTok last night, and the way he talks about Joe Flacco and that immaculate spiral just got me thinking. And I thought it would be really funny to beat your opponent week one with Joe Flacco. That'd be fucking hilarious. We go Malik Neighbors. Nah, I was thinking I go double receiver. We'll keep it balanced, and I'm actually gonna go Bucky Irving here. Let's go Bucky Irving and Malik Neighbors. Let's do it. Bucky looks like Tristan Wirfs might actually be healthier than we thought. Tristan Wirfs may not be on the pup list, so maybe he's not ready week one, but he might be back sooner than week 5, as earliest as possible for the pup list. But the Jalen McMillan injury, the Chris Godwin injury, plus the Rachaad White injury. Rachaad going down, I think, is huge for him. I love Bucky Irving. I think he's going to be really good this season. So let's go Bucky Irving. Let's mix it up. There's going to be fewer teams with this Neighbors Bucky Irving combo. And I do think Bucky Irving is a very good second-round pick. So in general, if you're drafting running back in this range, like, there's a lot of guys that are very similar to each other. Anyone in the top 10 as your RB1 is a good option. And Bucky had one of the highest ceilings last year on limited volume. So I like Bucky Irving a lot. True stud at the position. Shamrock saying just take all of the Browns quarterbacks. Yeah, that's one way to do it. I don't think I'd be doing that. But on your bench week one, maybe Flacco will be more valuable than some people think. Another like really good matchup week one would be Drake May against the Raiders. Raiders defense is not exciting at all. So Drake May probably going to drop a great week one total. And then another terrible defense this season would be the Dolphins, and they get the Colts. So Daniel Jones, maybe Daniel Jones is also a very interesting play in week one. But in general, nobody's ever doing that. Nobody's trying to start off with quarterbacks off the waiver wire. But I think if you're in a deep Superflex league, that'd be pretty fucking wild. Joe Flacco, Daniel Jones starting in your lineup week one. That'd be fucking hilarious. But only if you win. If you lose miserably, then you look like a dumbass. But remember, you do get that week one waiver wire claim. That's not bad. Shamrock is asking, have you ever seen The League? Also, there's a new movie coming to Netflix about fantasy football. I love The League. The League is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. Taco, Ruxin, Pete, Shiva, Kamini, Sumakandakram. We are on the clock. JSN at the top of ADP. We'll just take JSN. I really trust JSN. Such high volume headed his way. Dev saying, you going to try the first quarter tournament? I have not done that yet, but as I am talking, maybe some of the best picks are going to be Joe Flacco and Daniel Jones in that tournament. Maybe, just maybe, Joe Flacco will have some value in the first quarter tournament. I probably won't do it, but if you want to be bold enough to try it, be my guest. We are definitely not drafting Garrett Wilson. Fuck it, let's go Travion. Let's just get him. This tournament dropped today, so no worries on like the price point on Travion. Everybody is spending a 4th round pick to get Henderson. It's not like it's Best Ball Mania where you're competing with teams that got him late 6th round And love me some Travion. Maybe James Cook is the better player, but he's bound to be regressing and score fewer touchdowns than last season. 18 touchdowns is not going to repeat for James Cook, most likely. That'd be pretty shocking. Quincy saying you're so goated. I assume that has to do with this Joe Flacco take. Reflect this on. Maybe we can get Leia on camera today. She's been avoiding the heat. She's posted up under the bed, and maybe later I'll bother her and bring her on the stream. But let's see if maybe she decides just to pop in on her own. Is this a first quarter draft? No, this is the Pug. This is the Pug tournament. Love the advance rates in the Pug. Phenomenal payout structure. Also, what do you get just for, let's say, making week 15? Like, okay, you get your money back if you make the playoffs, and then if you get to the second week of the playoffs, it's $20, and then it jumps up to 200 for the final. Yeah, we got to make the final to really crush the payouts here. But Jalen Hurts goes pick 48. That team at number 1 has a full rainbow strategy. Not bad when you have Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith paired with Jamar Chase, Josh Jacobs. I like Team 1 quite a bit. Team 1 feels pretty strong because you can really hammer receiver at that 6-7 turn. And going with the hero RB strategy is not like the end of the world. But Dev saying, nah, A-Chain went too high. It can't be the first quarter. Yeah. A-Chain at 14 still feels maybe too high even in a regular season-long tournament like this. A-Chain scares me a little bit now. But I'm also just petrified of the entire Dolphins offense. I'm really worried about Miami. I think the Dolphins could have a top 3 pick next season in the draft. Like, if the Dolphins went 3-14, I wouldn't be surprised at all. There's so many ways that team could just completely crater. It feels destined that Mike McDaniel does not retain his job. It'd be kind of shocking if he was the coach next season. But as I say that, Waddle is at the top of ADP. And then there's also that oblique injury to Tyreek Hill. Oh, God damn it. Am I really going to take Waddle here after I just said the Dolphins are petrifying? Fuck it. Let's take Waddle. I've mentioned this. I think it was it yesterday's stream that we took Waddle? And Tyreek Hill fell to that, like, late 4th round. I think that was yesterday. I'm very underweight on Waddle. And I also really don't know where to rank him. I've been fading him a lot this season, but we're getting him at a discount. He usually goes earlier in the 5th round, so at some point I should take him a little bit. But let's pair him with potentially this year's like true league winner. We have Bucky Irving. Let's go Emeka Egbuka, and that way we can target Baker Mayfield and have a double stack with Bucky and Egbuka. Yeah, some extra risk with Waddle, but some very, very high production out of Egbuka. There's a chance he's more valuable than Mike Evans. Like, it's not impossible. I don't know if I would bet on that. In his rookie season, it may be more up and down than that comment would make it sound like. But last year, Jalen McMillan, operating as the number 2, was averaging over 13 fantasy points per game in the final 7 weeks with the Tampa Bay Bucks. That was good for like wide receiver 16 in points per game. Meanwhile, Evans in that stretch was a top 2 receiver in the NFL in points per game. The Bucks are going to have a good offense. They do lose Liam Cohen, but I do trust Baker to be putting up some high passing numbers, and the touchdowns are going to be there for the Bucks. So Egbuka, very safe pick. Should be good. But Reflect the Sun saying Bengals and Bengals stack. At some point, we got to go with a full Bengals stack with Leia prominently featured. I feel like I've done at least one of those teams, if not a couple. But you need to be at pick 1 in order to do that, because you're never getting Jamar Chase if it's not pick 1. And then these days, often T. Higgins gets sniped in the 2nd round, so it's hard to pair him up there. It's also pretty much impossible at this time to get Chase Brown with Jamar Chase as well. And so it's much more difficult to have that massive Bengals overhaul at this point in time. But if you were drafting a month ago, you could definitely do it. And I'm sure we have at least one or two of those types of teams on the live stream. I know I have some of them. But in general, I'm not taking Burrow at the 4-5 turn, and then I'm rarely ever taking him unstacked. I don't think I've ever taken him unstacked, now that I think about it. So I'm pretty underweight on Burrow, in all honesty. I have him in the same tier as Baker, and Baker goes a full 2 rounds later. So I kind of feel like Burrow's a little mispriced. Last year, he was going around like pick 100, and he crushed, but that's much different than going at pick 67 like he does in this lobby. Let alone taking him at the 4-5 turn, pick 49. That's much different. Okay. Jawan Jennings is falling, so that feels like the no-brainer pick if this team passes. Love Jawan Jennings. Even with the calf injury, I still think he's very, very valuable. And there is kind of a tier break at the position here. Goes Stafford. Be my guest. Love drafting with someone like that. Let's go Juwan Jennings. If I had to guess what happened with the team in front of me that just took Stafford, they took Puka at 16. They took Adams at 33. And I think they got ahead of themselves and put Stafford in the queue, knowing later on they would want the stack. And then here they are timing out, and Stafford's in the queue already and gets picked at 81. That's the only way I can justify, maybe not justify, but just like logically comprehend how that happened. That feels like what occurred for that team. But generally, we're going Jaden Higgins in this round, but I have 25% Jaden Higgins. I kind of want to cool it a little bit. And we already had the plan. We're going to take the Baker stack with Igbuka and Bucky Irving. So let's take him here. There's the team with Mike Evans without a quarterback so far. And even if they pass at 90, I would be pretty shocked if they passed on Baker at 103. So I'm not expecting Baker at 106. Let's take him here at 87. And in general, I don't really love most of these round 8 picks. TJ Hawkinson goes at 83. I think if TJ Hawkinson was on the board, I would have considered him there at 87. I really like TJ Hawkinson right now, especially with the injury to Jalen Nailor. The number 3 receiver in Minnesota has gone down, is going to miss some time. We know that Jordan Addison also getting suspended, and Justin Jefferson has missed a lot of practice time with his hamstring injury. Jefferson's still the guy. Let's not get it twisted. But TJ Hawkinson, a tight end, is probably going to be in the like security blanket conversation for JJ McCarthy. Typically rookie quarterbacks, which that is the case on JJ, even though he sat out last year. In my opinion, he's just a full rookie. Usually rookies love tight ends. Usually they favor them a lot more than some of those deep targets in terms of like consistency. So I could legitimately see like 130 targets for TJ Hawkinson this season. I also think at the beginning of the year, he's going to be even more involved in the offense. If you were drafting in that first quarter tournament, those first 4 weeks, I think TJ Hawkinson is going to be a very, very productive option. I will be posting, well, I'm recording my tight end rankings tomorrow. So hopefully I can post it by the end of the night, by the end of Friday tomorrow, but odds are I might not have it ready until Saturday morning. And I'll give you a sneak peek right now. I am going to rank TJ Hawkinson above Sam Laporta. They're in the same tier. It's neck and neck, but I actually think TJ Hawkinson's more valuable than Sam Laporta right now. The drop off from tight end 3 to tight end 4, however, is massive. There's not the same argument at all. Once you hit tight end 4, it's much different. But I think he's locked into a shit ton of volume. He's still pretty young, and 2 years ago he was a top 3 tight end. Anyways, let me get back to the chat. Shamrock with a question. You feeling Yoshivas or Burton will be the wide receiver 3 in Cincy? In terms of routes run as of today, it's probably Yoshivas. However, all summer I've kind of been talking myself into Burton. I have way more shares of Jermaine Burton. And the main reason why I think Burton is a better pick in best ball, here, I'll continue this conversation after this pick. I might go JCM here. Charbonnet off the board. We could take Godwin, however, don't want to force it. And the team at the turn here only has 2 running backs as well. I'm going to go JCM. I think by far the most valuable running back left on the board, in my opinion. But back to the Bengals wide receiver 3 question. Last year, if you look at Yoshivas' numbers, there were 5 games where T. Higgins missed time. You would think that Yoshivas would have had his best games in that stretch. That was not the case. Yoshi really benefit from scoring touchdowns when he was running in 11 personnel and T. Higgins was on the field. So Yoshi's numbers did not bump up at all, really, when T. Higgins was off of the field. And the question here is, do I take Brock Purdy to stack with Jawan Jennings? Do I take Godwin to stack with Baker? Or do I grab a tight end before the cliff comes? I think I'm going to grab tight end while I can. Tight end has been moving up the board consistently lately. Outside pick 100, it's been kind of harder to acquire the tight ends you like. And I do believe Ingram is more valuable than Travis Kelce. I really like Evan Ingram this year. In the same vein as Andrews and maybe even TJ Hawkinson, I like Ingram quite a bit. There's a potential Jimmy Graham season incoming for Evan Ingram. So I'll take him here. Maybe we luck out and Godwin falls to us at pick 130. But circling back on this Jermaine Burton question, I just don't really see the major upside for Yoshivas. I don't think he really proved much last year. And Burton was a rookie that had like a lot of character concerns. And reports on Burton this year is that he is impressing in camp, and that he's also like he's matured over the offseason. Like he's not as, childish as he was this time last year. So maybe that's not going to factor in. Maybe he still never really eclipses Yoshivas. But I think the more talented, higher upside guy would be Jermaine Burton. And therefore, I think if T. Higgins does go down, there is maybe some more opportunity for him. But really, I don't think you're ever starting a Bengals wide receiver 3 unless T. Higgins or Jamar Chase get hurt. I really think that's the only time they might ever be considered in your lineup. So the safe play is Yoshivas, but I think from a unique standpoint, if you want to get away from the market, take Burton in round 18. He's less drafted, and if he does pop, you're going to be competing with fewer teams in that scenario. Like if you want to stack Joe Burrow with a late Bengals wide receiver, I prefer Burton because he's less rostered and therefore more unique. You're competing with fewer teams that have that combination. But that was a long way to say I'm on the Burton side. However, I don't feel great about it. Reflect the Sun saying I did good on taking Dante Thornton in the 18th round, but got my first FOMO share today of JCM at 113. Should have listened to your pounding the JCM table. Yeah, I gotta imagine it feels rough if you never took JCM and now he's going in the 9th round. But like I said, I took him here at 106. His ADP is like 115 or something. It's been creeping up. I'm willing to take him in the 8th round. I think where we were taking Brian Robinson is where you should consider Ja'Cory. I think JCM could, or should I say Bill, might be more valuable than Isaiah Pacheco. Might be more valuable than DeAndre Swift. There's a world where that Commanders offense just leads to so many touchdowns, and then Eckler, given he's 31 years old, Eckler could miss a shit ton of time. Eckler is not safe at all. Anyways, we are on the clock. No real stacking options at the moment. So let's just grab a running back here. Let's go Braylon Allen. I think that's the move. I'll take Braylon Allen. I could have taken Kincaid there. There's some high upside with Kincaid, but I don't see a massive difference between him and Dallas Goedert. And I find it hard to imagine that both of them are off the board with my next pick. So I'm going to take tight end at 135. And then quarterback's been pushed down in this lobby. We'll take quarterback a little later. Tootin off the board. Kincaid's still there. Yeah, I'll go Kincaid. Was not good last year, but a first-round pick, had some real flashes in his rookie season, and could easily be the top target in the Bills offense. So let's take him. Evan Ingram, Dalton Kincaid at tight end. Our quarterback right now is Baker Mayfield stacked up with Igbuka and Bucky Irving. I also have Travion Henderson, Bill Krosky-Merritt, and Braylon Allen at running back. And then our full wide receiver core is Malik Neighbors, JSN, Waddle, Igbuka, and Jawan Jennings. Should be good. Feel strong at receiver. We got the stack at QB, and there's still some other options later. And then the running back room feels very competitive with the 4 we have. So far the team's feeling good. In general, if you like pay attention to my drafting trends, I like to load up on 5 receivers through the first 7 or 8 rounds. And then starting in the 9th round, if it's not the 8th round, it'll be the 9th round. We never take wide receiver in like picks 90 through 150. Like, this is not the range where I feel excited to draft receiver. Like, Keenan Allen is probably valuable. Ayuk has some upside late in the season, so does Godwin, but the injuries are kind of terrifying. Shaheed, probably a good pick in best ball, but a big gamble in the Saints offense. And then there's a lot of injuries and just like rough target shares. If you're not getting Jaden Higgins, all the receivers after him are pretty scary. But wow, quarterback was pushed down so heavily in this draft. Like, I kind of regret grabbing Baker above ADP, given the context of what happened here. Like, we see Brock Purdy go 124, Justin Fields 127. We just saw Jared Goff taken at 148. Like, this is a lobby that did not respect quarterback at all. I think I'm going to go Cedric Tillman here. Could go Rashad White, but nah, I'll take Cedric Tillman. Rashad's banged up. I already have Bucky. Let's not take Rashad White. But I think I'm going to grab Sam Darnold here at the next pick. I missed out on some of these massive quarterback values. Like, Goff at 148 is pretty insane. Purdy at 124 is already a massive value. So is Fields at 127. But I got none of them. I did not get a good value on quarterback in this lobby. So I might be set back because of that, but whatevs. Whatevs, man. Fuck it. Let's go Darnold so I don't get sniped. I have JSN. Maybe we can go Torrey Horton in the next round. We'll see what happens, but I'll take Sam Darnold here. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid on Darnold once again. Shamrock saying Cade Otton probably has some more upside in the beginning of the year. Yeah, definitely a little more confidence in Cade Otton at the moment, given the added injury to Jalen McMillan. And perhaps I do take him at the next turn if available. Given I have Baker, it's not a bad decision. But SATX says, excited to be back. Kept missing the other lives. Happy to have you, my friend. We are doing another one of these pugs after this, so if you want to hop in, I'll give you a little heads up. And then Tyler coming in with a little donation. Thank you for the super chat here. Asking Chase Brown or Bucky in redraft. I don't think you can really go wrong with either. I think if I was in full PPR, I would go Chase Brown. He's going to catch about 5 receptions per game, more valuable in full PPR. But I personally have Bucky Irving ranked higher in my half PPR rankings. Personally, I think I would go Bucky just barely. above Chase Brown. It's very close, but that Rashad White injury, I think, does bump up the reliable touches and snap share for Bucky Irving. I think Bucky has slightly higher upside. He's more explosive, in my opinion. I prefer Bucky Irving, but I don't think you can go wrong with either. Last year, though, we did see Chase Brown get hurt at the end of the season, and not saying that that's like destined to repeat, but it's kind of just like one little tiebreaker. I think there's just slightly, barely more injury risk with Chase Brown, but it's marginal. It's not like I'm fading Chase Brown. I'm happy to take him. And if Bucky's off the board, give me Chase Brown happily. But I'll go Bucky. Thank you for the $2. Appreciate it. On the clock with the next pick. Barring a snipe, I will go Torrey Horton. Let's get another stacking option with Sam Darnold. I'll take Torrey Horton. And then Geno Smith is falling, but I don't have any Las Vegas Raiders, so it's not really that important. Personally, I'm planning to take Jackson Dart with one of my last two picks. Damn, Kate Otten gets sniped. Was probably going to go Kate Otten there instead. We're not going to take McMillan. I don't think I even need an 8th receiver on this team. I think I'm very solid and happy with the 7 that I have. Top of ADP is Isaiah Likely, and Likely has 30-point upside. Let's go Isaiah Likely. I'm happy to do that. That feels pretty good. I don't know if I need him when I have Ingram and Kincaid, but I'm done at receiver. I'll only draft one more running back given the options I have. I feel pretty confident with the 4 so far, so only 5 running backs on this team, and that leaves me with one more pick to grab Jackson Dart with 3 tight ends. We can make this work. So, yeah, this team is looking decent so far. Even if we don't get Jackson Dart, I think it's still fine. But our quarterbacks are Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold. Last year's fucking league winners. Last year, Baker and Darnold were being drafted well outside the top 150, and they both finished top 10. Last year, if you faded quarterback, the 2 that got it done for you that almost like locked up a playoff spot were Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. Maybe they're just as good this year. Both drafted number 1 and 3 overall in their draft class. And I think Darnold is going to be good this year. I think he's going to be legit. If the Seahawks win their division, they might be like the 2 seed in the NFC. I could easily see the Seattle Seahawks finish 11-6 or 12-5. Last year they were 10-7, and as long as that wins the division, which I expect it to, I think they'll be the 2 seed. I think the Seahawks are legit this season. I have not posted my win-loss picks for that division. That'll come next week. But spoiler alert, I think the Seahawks are going to win that division. The Stafford back injury is a red flag. I would have said the Rams will win, but now I'm pulling back on that a little bit. Don't know if I trust the Rams to win the division anymore. But Rams will still be competitive. They'll probably still make the playoffs. Rams could either make the Super Bowl or get like a top 5 draft pick next season. It all hinges on Matthew Stafford. But odds are he'll miss some time, and odds are they do not win that division. It's going to be a competitive division in the NFC West. But definitely not drafting Anthony Richardson. I'm surprised Daniel Jones' ADP has not risen. I think Richardson might get traded at this point. Like this is probably going to be like a Trey Lance, Brock Purdy situation. Once Purdy got the job, they moved off of Trey Lance very quickly. probably going to be the same. Sure, I'll go Monangai. I don't think these two teams are going to snipe me on Dart. I'd be kind of surprised. I'll go Monangai for our 5th running back. Getting a little hype in camp so far. And then Roschon dealing with the injury. Swift is not like going to dominate every single touch. So I'll mix him in here. And then QB, barring a snipage, I will go Dart. If not, no, Dart's available. We're just taking Dart. Pair him up with Neighbors. And one reason why I think Dart has some valuable upside in fantasy is the rushing value. Dart does run it more than you might think. So here is his player profiler page. Best comp is Sam Howell. That's not encouraging, but he did run a 4.69 40. At quarterback, that's not bad. You know, it's not Lamar Jackson or anything, but it's not bad. He's 6'2", 223 pounds. His hand size only 9 inches. That's not elite, but it's not like Kenny Pickett small or anything. It's not a major red flag or anything. But this is what I care about. Let me direct your attention to these rushing stats here on the bottom. Let me zoom in a little bit. One more time. Okay, rushing yards here on the right-hand side. In his sophomore season at Ole Miss, he had 614 rushing yards. 2 years ago, he had 391, and then last year at Ole Miss, 495. That is why I think he could be this year's Bo Nix. Now, he may not start as many games as Bo Nix, but you know at some point the Giants are going to see what they have. There's no way Russell Wilson is the starting quarterback all year long. He's looked okay in the preseason. I don't want to completely overreact, but one reason why I think he could be very valuable in fantasy is because of this rushing upside. If you told me he got 450 rushing yards this year, I think that'd be very valuable. And maybe he doesn't play enough games to get that much, but on a per game basis, I could see like 30 rushing yards for Jackson Dart. He's going to be scrambling quite a bit. I like his upside when you have Malik Neighbors as like a fantasy playoff best ball upside. Dev saying Dart is a bum. Don't let the preseason fool you. I'm not going to overreact to the preseason, but I do think that the Giants offense has some value, and I do think he's going to start. I'm not relying on him heavily on this team, but I have Malik Neighbors, and so therefore I can justify the stack, and maybe there's going to be a game where he gives you like 60 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown, and that does potentially lead to some upside. He gets the Raiders in week 17. That's going to be an interesting game. The Raiders defense is pretty fucking ass. So I'm not saying he's like elite by any stretch, but I do think in fantasy he has some upside. But if he's not your cup of tea, don't take him. Don't worry about it. Shamrock saying regarding the Bucks backfield, Sean Tucker feels like a great option at the end of the draft. He had a couple spike games last year. That is true. That is accurate. And sometimes I just completely forget about him. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, with the Rashad White injury, definitely a name to consider if you need a late round running back. Dev saying I was just on Twitter telling someone the Niners are not winning the division. They might not be better than the Cardinals. Yeah, their receiver depth is so concerning. And then even their running back depth is also a major concern. They've been riddled with injuries this offseason. Garendo went down. So did Jordan James. So Patrick Taylor is like the only guy they have behind Christian McCaffrey. We know CMC is a major liability to get hurt as well. And if McCaffrey goes down, their offense is going to be absolute garbage. So just at running back alone, I'd be worried about the San Francisco 49ers. And then their receiving core is extremely banged up. Jawan has the calf injury. Ayuk might not be back until week 10. Demarcus Robinson got a DUI suspension. And Ricky Pearsall had a hamstring injury in the preseason. Who knows if he'll stay healthy. George Kittle's also kind of an older player. They just traded for Sky Moore. That shows how desperate they are for receiver depth. I'm pretty worried about the Niners. Even though their schedule's very easy, they probably get 9 wins. I'm not convinced they get more than 10. I agree with you, Dev. I do not think the Niners will win that division. And I don't think they're going to make the playoffs either. If they do it, they're going to sneak in as a wild card team, but not win the division. The Seahawks are legit, and to this point, Vegas has them as the biggest underdog in the division. But sometimes Vegas is wrong. I would, if I was a betting man, if I was going to Vegas this weekend, I'd be willing to make a bet that the Seahawks do win that division. They were 1 game away from winning it last year. They only missed the playoffs on tiebreakers. I think they're better than people think. Anyways, let's get back to the lobby. A reminder of how this team went. We have Baker, Sam Darnold, and Jackson Dart at QB. We got Bucky Irving, Travion Henderson, JCM, Braylon Allen, and Kyle Monangai at running back. So heavy at the top, and hopefully JCM, Braylon Allen do pay off. And then just a swing on Monangai, who knows. And then wide receiver, pretty strong with Neighbors, JSN, Waddle, Egbuka, Jawan Jennings, Cedric Tillman, and Torrey Horton for the Darnold double stack. And then our tight end room is pretty legit, even though we kind of waited. We have Ingram, Kincaid, and then the high upside swing on Likely. He starts the year with a foot injury, but that happened like a month ago. I think he'll be fine by like week 4, week 5, and he still has the potential to overtake Andrews at some time this year. So we will see what happens. But the team's okay. The team's fine. Let's hope for the best. And we will do one more. I think this will be the last draft of the stream, in all honesty. I don't expect to do a third. But maybe y'all will make me feel guilty by the end, and maybe we will do it. But Dev's saying I don't agree with Vegas. I'm trying to lay that bet, but I'd rather draft best ball. I hate bets that take forever to pay out. I mean, technically, best ball also takes forever to pay out when you really think about it. You're not getting your money back until as early as week 14 in best ball as well. But the return in terms of odds are not bad. What are the odds? Let me look that up. Vegas odds NFL. Oh, we got a visitor here. Let's put her on camera. I told you I wasn't gonna. Hey, look over here. Look over here. Oh, look at the camera. Over here. Hey. Oh, look. There you go. There you go. Anyways, she's here. She's alive and well. She's doing good. Hello. Okay. What's going on this? I want the win total. What's the deal here? No, this is not what I'm looking for. I'm not going to waste too much time. Let's just go back to the lobby. We'll talk about it later. Okay, so we're hopping into the Pug one more time. $12 entry if you want to hop in with me. We got to finish top 2 in the pod, and then we got to finish 1 out of a 5-team group in both playoff weeks to make a 62-seat final, where we have a crack at $20,000 for first prize, but a minimum of $200. And if we finish top 10, we get $2,000. If we finish top 15, we get $1,000. Top 5, we would get $4,000. And I like our odds in this tournament. So we're going to hop in. I'm going to drop the join now in the chat to let you know when I am hopping in. And once you see that, go ahead and hit the button. There is like a 7-ish second delay. So I'll give it a few more seconds just to sync up. And when you see it, go ahead and click the button. All right. Whoa. I got boxed out. I've never seen that before. Huh. That's strange. Quincy says mine didn't work either. Yeah, that's weird. The fuck happened? All right. I'll try and do it on my phone this time. Because it didn't say the location was the problem. So Quincy's saying the website just glitched. Yeah, it was not a location error. It was just a sorry about that error. I've never seen that before, but I suppose it does happen. This is taking a while to load. I guess their website is glitching right now. Maybe we won't hop in. My phone. I have not hopped in the phone yet. I'll let you guys know when I'm ready to do it on the phone. Okay. I have it queued up on the phone. I will drop join now one more time and we'll try it on the phone. Hopefully it works. Leia's fucking pissed. Oh. Join now. Join now. I hit the button. There's only one more spot. There's one more spot. It is full. Hopefully it worked for y'all if you wanted to hop in. Strange, very strange. But I had one of the last spots in the lobby. I do not recognize anyone, so hopefully y'all are in here, but I can't say I recognize anyone. All right. Hey, what's going on? My cat is a little pissed right now. Okay, come here. Come here. Fuck. Okay. She was hungry. Gave her little treats. Little treat. Oh, what the fuck? This is a slow draft. What the hell? Now I understand. Oh, that sucks. That's bullshit. Yeah, I agree, Quincy. This is terrible news. You can only do a 4-hour pick clock. That's bogus. That is bullshit. I did not want to hop into a 4-hour pick clock. God damn. That sucks. I feel like I'm wasting $12 now. Damn. Yeah, this is a major bummer. I don't like slow drafts in the first place, but especially with a 4-hour pick clock. Granted, this says 9 hours. I don't know what the fuck is happening. But if it's 4 hours, like you can just sleep through it. You know what I mean? Like if you're on the clock at 1 a.m., there's no way I'm waking up in time to make this pick. This is bullshit. Damn it. Okay. Well, in that case, maybe we take a look at some other stuff. Quincy says, I think they turn it off at night. I hope so. That's the only way it works out. Oh, you want a $1,000 draft? Not going to catch me in one of those. While I do spend more than $1,000 on Underdog, in the summer, I spread it out with a bunch of drafts. I cannot afford to risk 1 grand on a single draft. So this is a big bummer. This is unfortunate. Maybe we take a look at some of my other teams. I am on the clock in one of these little Dalmatians. I'll show you this team. This team goes A-Chain, James Cook, Amon-Ra Evans, Rashee Rice, and Matthew Golden. I'm on the clock in the 7th round. And I was just mentioning my belief in TJ Hockenson. I think I'm going to grab TJ Hockenson on this team. That's where I'll go. And then hopefully on the way back around, I can get Jaden Higgins. If not, I'll probably queue up Baker. And then I guess I could tolerate a Jordan Mason selection. This one, let's take a look at this team. I got Bijan, Bucky, Swift, Evans, JMO, Hunter, and Juwan on this one. Shamrock asking, which draft were you in before? We were in the Pug earlier. It was just a 20-second pick clock, and then we got boxed out of the quick timers. Same, Dev. I wish I could drop $1,000 and have no regrets about it, but to risk that, not my favorite decision. Can I request a refund with support? Possibly, but I doubt they're gonna give me any leeway on that. Like, technically, you kind of know what you're getting into, and if they give me a refund, they have to refund the entire lobby. I don't think they want to do that. I highly doubt that'll happen. I could try, but odds are I will not get any sympathy. But yeah, I have no desire to be doing more of these slow drafts with only, like, we got less than 2 weeks until the start of the draft. A 4-hour pick clock is not good. So what can we do in the meantime? Are there other lobbies I could hop into? I don't really want to deposit more money tonight. I don't have a lot of funds. You know what? I could drop $5 on the first quarter tournament. We could give it a shot, but in all honesty, I don't really want to do that. I don't know. I feel like you really need to know the schedule in order to have confidence doing that. Maybe not completely, but I feel like that's the way to have any, like, edge on the competition. So maybe I just call it. Yeah, I might just say goodbye. Big bummer on that. Anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed up to this point. Not happy about how that worked out. And they did us dirty. Very, very unfortunate with that situation. But anyways, I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Tomorrow, I'm going to be recording and editing my tight end video. That one I don't think is going to go too long. There's not that many tight ends that you actually want to be drafting in redraft, so I probably won't go deeper than like 15 in like in-depth rankings at the position. And then otherwise, after the preseason this weekend, I'll just be updating my running back and wide receiver rankings and then dropping my win-loss pick videos. We're very close to the season. So, yeah, not too many videos left to hammer out, but tomorrow I am going to work on that tight end video and get those rankings out to you as soon as I can. So, hope you guys have a good night, and thank y'all for joining me. Peace out, and good luck. Bye-bye. Oh, Shamrock, you're asking, am I going to be streaming during the season for anything? I might do a few streams here or there, but in general, during the season, I only drop like the rankings videos and like the win-loss pick videos. Almost all of my content in the regular season is edited. So I rarely do streams, but I'll try and do some. Like I'll try and hop in on like a Sunday morning, most weekends, and do like Q&A sessions for like those last minute lineup decisions. I'll do some. We won't completely ignore the live stream during the season, but probably not many of these best ball drafts. Most likely, not many of them. Anyways, I hope y'all enjoy, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.